All right, so what is the difference between these two problems? The key thing is the square brackets. So when you have a square bracket question, you are first going to find critical numbers, and then after you find critical numbers, you are going to compare y values. So you're going to create your t-chart, x and y, plug in your critical numbers, plug in your endpoints, and then identify your absolute max and min. If you look at this question over here, there is not a closed interval given. So when it's not closed, again, the first step is always critical numbers, but then that's where you can either use the first derivative test, and that's what most people are going to do, use the first derivative test and plug in to the left and to the right of the critical number. You could also potentially use the second derivative test if you wanted to. Now, this process is listed over here in more detail. Again, when you're finding extrema, the first thing to do is to find the critical number. And remember, when you're looking at the critical number, technically the domain is very important. For polynomials, the domain is all real, so it doesn't matter. But if you have a fraction, you do want to pay attention to that domain and make sure that this point that you're picking out is interior to the domain. Now, once you find your critical numbers, if it's a closed interval, then you are going to compare those function values at critical numbers and endpoints. Meanwhile, if there's no interval, basically if it's not a closed interval, then that is where we need to draw our derivative number line and identify the relative min and max.